Look at these words: anticlimactic, reacquaint, antecedent, circumvent, descend, extraterrestrial, permeate. Do you know what they mean? If not, can you guess their meaning? While you don't need to know all of them to get a 30 out of 30 on test day, you often need to be able to guess the meaning of difficult words you encounter in the reading, listening, writing, and even speaking sections of the test. Sometimes you can do this from context. However, there may be situations where the context won't be of much help. In that case, there is another way to figure out the meaning of the word, which we'll talk about in today's video. I decided to share a strategy with you that will help you find out what many unfamiliar words mean, and also allow you to learn 100 essential words for the TOEFL test. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get more tips and tricks about the test, and click the bell icon to be notified when the next video comes out. Also, write winner in the comments below if you knew all the words, or tell us how many words you already knew. For example, 60 out of 100 or 78 out of 100. Without further ado, let's get started. So, what's the strategy then? We can use our knowledge of prefixes, suffixes, and roots. For those of you who don't know, the root is the main part of a word that gives us its basic meaning. For example, in the word unhappy, the root is happy. Now, a prefix is a small part added to the beginning of a root word to change its meaning. For example, the prefix un in unhappy means not, so unhappy means not happy. Finally, a suffix is a small part added to the end of a root word to change its form or meaning. In this video, we'll only focus on important prefixes, but if you find this lesson helpful, let me know in the comments and I'll make 2 more videos talking about roots and suffixes. Quick note for those of you who may be wondering, why do I need to learn prefixes? How will this information help me ace the TOEFL test? Learning prefixes is a great way to learn tons of novel words and to guess the meanings of the unfamiliar ones, because many prefixes have consistent meanings. For example, if you know that pre means before, you can guess that preview means to view something before it's shown, while pre-med is the name for undergraduate courses that prepare students to enter medical school after graduation, which means they're taken before medical school. So, in this video, we'll explore some common prefixes and the words they create. Let's get started. The first prefix is anti. As you might have guessed, this prefix means against. Let's look at some common words with it. Antisocial, against being social, not wanting to be with others. Antifreeze, against freezing. An antifreeze is a liquid that prevents engines from freezing. Antivirus, against viruses. It's the software that removes computer viruses. Antibody, against some foreign substances. An antibody is a protein that fights harmful substances in the body. Antigen, a substance that causes the immune system to react. Antithesis, the complete opposite of something. The word is used to describe a person or thing that is the direct opposite of something or someone else. Anticlimactic, when something seems like it's going to be exciting, but then it lets you down, it's anticlimactic. Let's look at a few examples. After all the build-up and suspense, the movie's ending was anticlimactic, leaving the audience disappointed. Her calm and composed demeanor was the antithesis of his angry and impulsive behavior. When a foreign antigen enters the body, the immune system responds by producing antibodies to fight it. As you can see, one prefix gives us 7 advanced words that are often seen in academic context. Prefix number 2, contra. Just as our first prefix, contra means against. Contradict, to say the opposite. Contravene, to act contrary to a rule or law. For example, the company knew its actions contravened international law. Contraband, goods that are prohibited by law. They're against the law. One important thing to remember, just knowing a lot of words won't help you ace the TOEFL test. In my one-on-one sessions, I now have a large number of people preparing for the TOEFL reading, and I'll tell you that most of them have a fairly extensive vocabulary. However, their main problem is that they can't apply the strategies for different question types correctly and work effectively under pressure. So what we do is work on automating their skills and teaching them how to adapt each strategy to find the right answer as quickly as possible. If you're also struggling with the reading section of the TOEFL test, click on the link below and sign up for the TOEFL prep course we have created to help students around the world prepare for the TOEFL test. We'll analyze tons of reading passages together, evaluate your speaking and writing, and tell you what you need to do differently to get a higher score. The next prefix is extra, beyond. Extracurricular, beyond the regular curriculum. She participates in many extracurricular activities, such as the debate club and the soccer team. Extraterrestrial, beyond the Earth. Scientists are searching for extraterrestrial life. Extraordinary, beyond the ordinary. Extravagant, beyond reasonable limits. Extrasensory, beyond the normal range of senses. Some people claim to have extrasensory perception. Prefix number 4 is BENE. It comes from Latin and means well or good. This prefix is found in many English words that convey positive meanings related to goodness or well-being. For example, we all know the word benefit, which means something that is good or helpful. Another example is benevolent, showing kindness and goodwill. Benefactor, a person who gives financial or other support. A good person. Beneficiary, a person who benefits from something. For example, the main beneficiaries of these economic reforms. Benediction, a short blessing. Again, a good thing. Beneficial, producing good results. It's a very useful word for the writing section of the test. If you want to say that something is good and produces good results, you can say it's beneficial. For example, this policy has had a beneficial effect on the economy. The next prefix is ante. Don't confuse it with anti. Like BENE, the prefix ante comes from Latin, where it means before. It's used in many English words to indicate something that comes before in time or position. Let's look at a few examples. Antecedent, something that comes before another thing. On the TOEFL, you can often find mentions of historical events that were the antecedents of the current situation, which means they came before the current situation. Antechamber, a small room leading to a main one, often used as a waiting area. So it's before the main room. Guests waited in the antechamber before entering the main hall. Number 6, miss. This prefix means wrongly or badly. We all know that to mistake means to make an error. Now, a few other words with this prefix that are common on the TOEFL test are misunderstand, to fail to understand something correctly, get things wrong. Misinterpret, to interpret incorrectly. Misfit, a person who does not fit in. For example, he felt like a misfit in the new school because he had different interests from his classmates. Misfortune, bad luck. Misbehave, to behave badly. I just saw this word in one of the speaking tasks. I think it was in question 3. Misguide, to guide wrongly. Prefix number 7 is re. It means to do again. This is a very popular prefix, and I see a lot of words with this prefix in all sections of the test. Let's look at some of them. Reabsorb, to absorb again. Reacquaint, to become familiar with again. Readmit, to admit again. Reappear, to appear again. Rearrange, to arrange again. Recopy, to recopy again. Reconsider, to consider again. A few more verbs. Rebuild, to build again. Renew, to make something new again. Reorganize, to arrange something in a new way. Reproduce, to make a copy of something or to produce offspring. Rehabilitate, to restore to a former state or to good health. Reevaluate, to assess or consider something again. Now, the words we just looked at are all verbs. You can also see many nouns with the same prefix. For example, resurgence. It's a very popular word on the TOEFL test that means a return or revival of something that has declined or disappeared, like comeback. A few other typical words with this prefix are rebirth, reconstruction, rediscovery, reevaluation, regeneration. The process of renewal, restoration, or growth when you generate something again. Reinforcement, the act of strengthening or supporting something. Reformation, the process of making changes to improve something. Restoration, the act of returning something to its original condition. Renewal, the process of making something new, fresh, or strong again. Let's look at a few typical TOEFL sentences using some of the words we've just covered. The resurgence of interest in classical music has led to a renewed appreciation of orchestral performances. The teacher used positive reinforcement to encourage good behavior among her students. After a period of decline, the city is experiencing a renewal of economic activity and cultural events. The plant can reabsorb nutrients from its old leaves before they fall off. All these words appear in every section of the test. So if you don't know them, add them to your list. Prefix number 8 is ex. It means out. Exclude, to keep out. Expel, to force someone to leave a place, usually a school or a college. The student was expelled for cheating on the exam. Next, we have 3 prefixes: com, con, col. They all come from the Latin prefix cum, which means together or with. These prefixes usually form words that convey the idea of coming together or being associated with something. Let's look at some examples. Compliant, meaning rules or standards. Communal, shared by all members of a community. Something for common use, like shared together. Combine, to bring together. Collaborate, to work with someone. Collect, together. Collate, to collect and arrange in order. This verb means to collect and arrange information, text, or data in a particular order, often for the purpose of comparison or organization. It can also refer to arranging the pages of a document in the correct order. For example, the researcher had to collate data from different sources to complete the study. Before you bind the documents, make sure you collate the pages properly. Connect, to join or link together. Convene, to come together for a meeting or a gathering. The board of directors is convening next week to discuss the company's strategic plan for the upcoming year. Prefix number 10 is hyper, excessively. Hypertension, abnormally high blood pressure. Blood pressure that's too high. He takes medicine to control his hypertension. Hyperactive, excessively active. Hyperventilate, to breathe too fast. We hyperventilate because we are afraid. Hypersensitive, extremely sensitive. Hyperinflation, extremely rapid inflation. The country is facing hyperinflation, making basic goods unaffordable. Hypermodern, extremely modern. The 11th prefix is the one you'll see a lot on the TOEFL test. It's inter. The prefix inter means between. Just look at how many words you can make with this prefix. Intercultural, between cultures. The program promotes intercultural understanding and exchange. Interact, talking, dancing, playing a game. All these activities allow you to interact with other people. It's about the communication that happens between people. Students are encouraged to interact with each other throughout the project. Intercept, to stop something from reaching its final destination, to get between that object and the final destination. If you're planning a surprise party for your friend and she arrives half an hour early, you might run to intercept her while everyone rushes to hide. A typical example: the spy managed to intercept the secret message. Interstellar, between stars. The movie is about an interstellar journey to find a new home for humanity. Remember the movie Interstellar? Let me know in the comments below if you've seen it, because it's definitely one of my favorites. If you haven't, you should definitely check it out. It will teach you a lot of useful vocabulary for the TOEFL test. Intervene, to come between. This word comes from the Latin intervenire, meaning to come between. So to intervene is to get involved, to jump in the middle of something, to interfere. By the way, to interfere is another great word with the same prefix. Prefix D means from or down. Descend, to move or fall downward. There is also a noun, descent, which means the process of going down. As in a popular quote from Virgil, the descent into hell is easy. Deduct, to subtract or take away an amount or part from a total. The tax is deducted from your payments. Degrade, to lower in character or quality, to go down in quality. The quality of cognitive processing is severely degraded. It has gone down in quality. Dehydrate, to remove all water from or to dry up. To make a raisin, you dehydrate a grape. When you exercise a lot, it's good to drink water so that your body doesn't get dehydrated. Deactivate, to make inactive. Decelerate, to slow down. Decelerate is the opposite of accelerate, which means to go faster. It often describes slowing a vehicle, but it can relate to nearly anything, like a friendship that begins with hanging out nearly every day, but decelerates when you move to a new town or get busy with school or sports. It doesn't mean the friendship is ending or over, just that the pace is now a little slower. One more prefix you need to know is post, after. Post-operative, happening after surgery. The patient needed post-operative care. Postgraduate, a student who is continuing their studies after receiving a bachelor's degree. She is a postgraduate student studying for her master's degree. Post-war, after a war. Now the prefix pre means before. Precedence, the state of being earlier in time. Notice the verb precede in the noun precedence, and you'll be able to remember that precedence is the act of preceding or coming before, either in time or in rank. Safety should take precedence over speed. Predecessor. A predecessor is something that came before the current version. The person you replace at work is your predecessor, just as Pac-Man is the predecessor of modern video games. Predecessors include our ancestors, earlier car models, and all sorts of other predecessors. For example, the new CEO is very different from his predecessor. Predate, to happen earlier than something else. The document appears to predate the invention of the printing press. Preface, an introduction to a book. The preface gives an overview of what the book is about. Prehistoric, before recorded history. A typical sentence on the TOEFL reading section would be something like this. They discovered prehistoric fossils during the excavation. Again, the prefix pre means before, and the historic refers to something from a past culture. Put the two together and you get prehistoric, a word that describes something that comes from a time before history was recorded. Premeditate, to plan in advance. The crime was premeditated, not a spontaneous act. Next is the prefix trans. As you may have guessed, trans means across. This is another very popular prefix on the TOEFL test. we have a lot of words with this prefix. Transport, to carry across. Transatlantic, across the Atlantic Ocean. Transcend, to rise above or go beyond the limits of. Translate, to express in another language. Transmit, to send from one place or person to another. Transverse, lying or being across. When something is transverse, it goes sideways or at an angle. You might take a transverse path across the park. It's a shortcut if you're in a hurry because you don't have to walk the entire length. Finally, the last prefix for today is pro, which means forward or before. Propose, to put forward for consideration. Proponent, a supporter of a cause. She's a strong proponent of renewable energy. This word is the opposite of opponent. Propel, to drive or push forward. The boat is propelled by a strong engine. Promote, to help to flourish, to move forward. The campaign aims to promote healthy eating habits. Proactive, creating or controlling a situation rather than just reaching to it. When you are proactive, you make things happen instead of waiting for them to happen to you. Pro in this context means before, which means when you are proactive, you're ready before something happens. Proliferate, to grow rapidly. The use of mobile phones has proliferated in recent years. That's the last word on our list. Congratulations! In this video, we've covered 16 important prefixes and learned 100 words that you'll see not only on the TOEFL test, but everywhere you go. Thanks for watching! Please note below how many words you already knew. If you want to master all 4 sections of the TOEFL exam and get a great score on test day, click on the link below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tips and tricks on how to ace the TOEFL test. Remember, scoring 100 plus on the TOEFL isn't rocket science. It's the little things you do that make all the difference. As always, I wish you all a stellar TOEFL score. Until next time.